Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joined today from Safe Communities is my favorite friend of all time. Don't tell anybody else at Safe Communities. Ashley Hillman's here with us. We're talking falls, this National Falls Awareness Month. Ashley, one of my favorite topics to talk about. Folks didn't know I ran on an ambulance for many years and saw it firsthand as an EMT, falls and what it is. And we've had the partner with you on so many different great things, and talking about this major piece as you age. Falling is not part of aging, Ashley, and I think I would have never ever learned that without your help and again seeing that firsthand. So welcome. That's my big intro for you.
Thanks. I love it. It's good to be here, as always.
It is. As saying, falls are not a part of aging. Why is that statement so important?
That statement it is so important because a lot of people think that they are a part of aging, that as we get older, it's just going to happen. And that is not the case. Falls can be prevented. And there are proven effective measures that we all can take to prevent a fall. As we age, as a society, we're aging. We're fortunate enough to age because we're living longer lives, which is wonderful. And with that comes the ability to know what to do to live the way we want to live those years. And that part of that is preventing a fall, because usually after a fall, the trajectory is not a pleasant one. You know, it's the 95% of hip fractures are a result of falls. Sometimes you lose your independence, they're costly, and no one wants that ever.
No, and I think, until you actually witness it or maybe have a family member who goes through it, you're not aware of the long-term effects mental too. I think there's a big mental health component to it as well. Losing independence, not being able to be as mobile as you were. It's not a guarantee just because you break a bone that you recover from said injury, just that snap of a finger. And I think you got to really understand some of those things, that there are long-term effects to that. During National Falls Prevention Month or Awareness Month, what can we do as taking in and learning more about this and understanding how we can prevent this and be educated and learning about these things?
Yeah, that's a great question. So yeah, September is National Falls Prevention Awareness Month, but I'll say we should be aware of falls all year long, not just in September. But there's a lot that we can do. And in September, we do have, several events, community-based events. Our annual Only Leaves Should Fall event is actually on September 24th this year. And with that comes increased community awareness. What is it that we're equipping our community with so that they have the tools and the knowledge and the resources to prevent a fall. A lot of what we do at Safe Communities is make sure classes and programs that improve balance are accessible to older adults, as well as work with EMS and healthcare systems at the, more at the systems level to make sure we're working together in a way that's going to help our communities of older adults. So, and that's work that happens 12 months a year, 365 days. But there is a lot of education that happens in the month of September, and we can talk about that if you want.
Oh, we're going to. In fact, I saw last night here at our community center being put on in combination with you guys, ballroom. It's ballroom. It's either ballroom balance or I'm not going to get the name right. But
Ballroom Basics for Balance. Yep.
There you go. Thank you. We just started our session here in Fitchburg, and I took a little peek in last night to see that. What a cool way of combining a little bit of dance, a little bit of movement, but really being educated on staying on your feet and trying to prevent falls. And it sounds silly when we're saying prevent a fall. Well, that's easy, right, Ashley?
Exactly. And that's the thing. There are classes like Ballroom Basics for Balance, and Tai Chi and yoga and water-based classes. There are so many classes out there that are fun. So you hear falls prevention and you kind of think, who wants to talk about that? No one. But that doesn't mean that you have to engage in activities that are not enjoyable. So there's all kinds of activities that actually do improve balance. And we keep a list on our website of what those classes are. And it's out of the ordinary. You know, Ballroom Basics is definitely on our website. Lots of Tai Chi class, Aikido, a form of martial arts. So, you know, you can go on this journey in a way that is fun and enjoyable, and at the same time, you're improving your balance and hopefully preventing a future fall.
So let's talk about the categories that kind of associate, with fall prevention. So things that you can do to kind of start putting the pieces together and educating yourself during this month. Let's start with just at home, because I think that we see a lot of falls in the home, and the home should be the safest place, right? But we're not necessarily thinking about it that way. So what can we do at home to check out and assess ourselves what risk we've got?
Yeah, that's so home safety is one of the huge, buckets that we talk about. And a majority of falls do happen at home. I think that's where we are mostly, so that's where they happen. So some of the biggies are throw rugs. You know, a lot of people love their rugs. I do too. But if you have rugs, making sure they're taped down so that those ends aren't coming up. Lighting is a huge one. We'll maybe talk about vision, but our vision does change as we age, and we need more light to be able to see what's around us. So making sure that pathways are well lit, especially at night, if you need to go to the restroom. And also the bathroom, you really don't want to fall, period, but especially in the bathroom. There are so many sharp corners and edges, and the tile is so hard. Like some of the most traumatic falls happen in the bathroom. But, if you put grab bars up, raise toilet seats, there are things that you can do to make that environment safer too. Getting up on chairs to change light bulbs is not a good idea. So
Oh,
keeping
come
things
on.
lower. My grandmother, I still have this image of her. She was in her early 80s, and she pulled a chair up to the stove to get that cabinet, that really tricky one right above the stove. And she started reaching for something in the top, and I said, "Mama, what are you doing?" And, she's like, "Oh, don't worry, but I've got this." And I thought, and this was before I was, doing falls prevention work. And I look back on that and think, oh my gosh, I should have done it for her. But so keeping things, lower so that you can reach them. And then, handrails are important. If you're able to have handrails on both sides of the stairs, that's helpful too. So those are just a few little recommendations.
Well, and they're simple. They're simple recommendations. I mean, what you're seeing here is like you're like, well, duh, but really, these have huge impacts in prevention. You did mention eye care, and I think that's an important one, as you had mentioned about we're living longer now, so we have to take care of more than just the body and exercise and everything else. We got to keep these two things up and running as well.
Yeah, that's huge. We always recommend getting your vision checked annually because your vision is changing throughout life. And so you make sure, if you have an eye condition like glaucoma or macular degeneration or cataracts, that you can address those and get what you need to be able to see the environment around you. Because that's what happens oftentimes, is that we're just not aware of our body within our external environment, whether that's stepping up onto a curb, stepping down from a curb. So navigating that external environment is really important, and vision plays a major role in that.
Absolutely. And then taking a look at medication, there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to medication, pending what you're dealing with, what ailment, that sort of thing. But staying on top of that, or getting help to stay on top of that, super important, especially as you get older. It can get more complicated.
That's right. Yeah. So, what's been proven is that the more medications, and not just prescriptions, not just what
Mhm.
your doctor prescribes, but also vitamins and supplements, the more of those we're taking, the greater chance that we could have for a potential fall, just because of those, they're called adverse drug events. So medication interactions. And, you may have one doctor who prescribes a medication for your heart, and then another who prescribes a medication for something else. And, maybe they're not talking. So it's really important to talk to your primary care physician or your pharmacist to do what's called a comprehensive medication review. So you sit down, look at every single thing you're taking, including those vitamins and supplements, to make sure there aren't these adverse drug events that often could lead to dizziness or faintness, which, could lead to a fall.
Absolutely. Yeah. You just never know. And I said, if you're adjusting those medications and you're not really keeping track of that, though not being aware and just because you're ignoring it this is not going to work out very well for you and could lead to falls. Finally, you mentioned a little bit, but exercise is a plus. There's multiple benefits to exercising. But when we're really talking exercising and the balance and whatnot, you're going to stay upright and you're going to be able to keep on moving better by exercising. And I'm not talking about getting in the gym and lifting hundreds of pounds here. It's staying active.
That's it. That's right. Like the classes you mentioned, like ballroom basics and Tai Chi, those are great ways to help strengthen certain muscles that, I think we kind of forget the muscles that we need to sit down into a chair or to stand up from a chair, which is oftentimes how falls happen. So if we pay attention to certain strength and balance exercises, then we really can improve our overall balance. And walking is fantastic, but it does not improve balance. So it's great cardio. So making sure you are doing cardio for your overall health, but focusing on certain strength and balance exercises to keep those muscles that we're using, to step up and down onto different terrains and curbs and stairs at home is just super, super important. And there are ways that you can do that, and it's fun. It doesn't have to be arduous.
Ashley, if somebody is now as interested after listening to this great interview and wanting to start to empower themselves to take and make some changes, where could they start to learn about the things we talked about today and get involved, even if it's starting with some simple exercises?
Yeah, so the Safe Communities website, it's www.safercommunity.net, has lots of great resources, and including a calendar of all the classes that are being offered right now, and some fun videos. One of the co-founders of Ballroom Basics for Balance has this great video called Squat 3 Times. So when you get up, sit back down and do it 3 times, because just that is going to strengthen your leg muscles. So there are lots of fun videos on our website, and you can always just call me directly. And my number is 608-235-1957, and we can talk through options and brainstorm some ways that we can stay healthy and upright.